All right, let's get right into the next piece of the Kubernetes puzzle. We're talking about policies. Think of them as the rules of the road that keep these huge, complex clusters from turning into absolute chaos.
So, what really happens, if one of your applications suddenly goes rogue and starts eating up all the CPU in your Kubernetes cluster? Just all of it. Or what if it's not even about CPU? What if one little pod just starts trying to talk to every other service in the entire system? I mean, everything. How do you stop that?
Well, in the world of Kubernetes, the answer to both of those nightmares is something called policies. And you gotta understand, these aren't just polite suggestions. They are hard, enforceable rules that bring order where there would otherwise be chaos.
So far in this series, we've really built up our understanding, right? We've seen how Kubernetes runs applications, how it scales them up and down, and even how it secures basic access. But here's the thing. When you get into large, shared clusters, all of that isn't quite enough. You need rules. You need rules to prevent total chaos.
So yeah, let's talk about that threat, the threat of chaos. Why do we even need these rules in a shared world like Kubernetes? It all comes down to something engineers call the noisy neighbor problem. You've got multiple teams all pushing their apps to the same cluster. And remember, the resources, the CPU, the memory, they're finite. They're all sharing the same pie. And the network, it can become a total free-for-all. So what does that mean? It means one misbehaving application can literally bring down the whole system for everyone. You know, a really good way to think about this is to picture your cluster as a big, busy apartment building. Seriously, without any rules, it would be pure chaos, right? So let's start there. How do we prevent one tenant from just hoarding all the resources? How do we set some budgets? Okay, the first tool Kubernetes hands us for this is something called a resource quota. Now, a resource quota, it limits the total resource consumption. We're talking CPU and memory for an entire namespace. It's the big picture. So, in our apartment building analogy, this is like setting a total monthly utility budget for each apartment, which is our namespace. You're basically saying, hey, this is all the power you get for the month, period. Okay, so we've capped the budget for the whole apartment. That's great, but what about a single faulty appliance inside that apartment that just goes crazy? For that problem, Kubernetes gives us something called a limit range. And what it does is it constrains the resource allocations, so the requests and limits, for the individual pods or containers inside that namespace. It's much more specific. So let's put it side by side. Resource quota, that's your total budget for the whole namespace, the whole apartment. But limit range, that sets the min and max for one single thing, like one pod or one container. It's the rules for one specific appliance. You really need both. And here is the really cool part. With the right policies in place, Kubernetes automatically enforces all of this. It's not about getting an alert after something breaks. No, if you try to deploy something that breaks the rules, Kubernetes just says, nope, and rejects it. The problem is stopped before it even starts. That's huge. Okay, so we've handled the resource budgets, but what about network traffic? In our apartment building, who's allowed to talk to whom? So get this. By default, any pod in a Kubernetes cluster can talk to any other pod. It's just wide open, a totally flat network. Now think about that for a second. In a big system with sensitive data flowing around, is that really what we want? Probably not. And this is where the network policy comes in. You can think of it like a firewall, but for your pods. It lets you write very specific rules about who can talk to whom. Going back to our building, this is basically the keycard and intercom system. It's what defines which apartments or pods are even allowed to communicate with each other in the first place.
All right, so let's zoom out a little. What's the big idea here? What's the philosophy of all these policies?
This is really the key takeaway. Policies aren't the engines of your cluster, they're the guardrails. They don't make your apps go, they just govern their behavior to make sure everything stays stable, fair, and secure for everyone. So, let's do a super quick recap. We've got 3 core policies. Resource quota, that's your total budget for the whole namespace. Limit range, that sets the rules for individual workloads. And network policy, that controls who can talk to whom. Simple as that. You know, when you add policies into the mix with everything else we've talked about, compute, networking, storage, scaling, security, you start to see it. You see the complete platform for running these huge modern systems. It's really the final piece of the puzzle. So now that we have the rules of the game all set, the big question becomes, how do we automate the entire application lifecycle? How do we get from code to a running, managed application automatically? That's where we're headed now.